There's a moment that happens after you lose everything. A silence so loud it changes people forever. And God is waiting in it. If you're not one of the ones He's calling, this won't make sense to you. But if you are, every word of this will feel like it was written specifically for your life. Most people who recover from addiction say the same thing. Something spoke to them when they hit rock bottom. Not their own voice, not logic, not willpower, something else. And it's always the same people, the ones who were marked before the addiction even started. In a moment, I'll show you exactly how God uses rock bottom to break open the people He's calling. But first, you need to see why this only works when you've lost absolutely everything. Recovery researchers noticed something they couldn't explain. The people who experienced complete spiritual transformation weren't random. Before addiction, they were the restless ones. The ones who felt too deeply, thought too much, couldn't just go through the motions like everyone else. And the addiction didn't create that difference. It revealed it. Here's what most people miss. God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And the qualification process looks like destruction to everyone watching. When you're in active addiction, your entire identity is built around control. Control the next high. Control the pain. Control how much people know. But rock bottom isn't when you run out of money, or lose your job, or hurt the people you love. Those are just consequences. Rock bottom is the exact moment you realize you cannot control this anymore. Not tomorrow. Not with one more try. Not ever. And that realization doesn't feel like relief. It feels like death. Because something in you is dying. Your ego. The part that insisted you could handle this alone. Pay attention to this next part, because most people never make it past this point. There are two types of people who hit rock bottom. The first type gets sober and goes right back to building the same life. Same emptiness, just without the substance. Then there are the chosen ones. And before you think that means special or favored, understand this. Chosen doesn't mean blessed with an easier path. It means burdened with a heavier one. It means God has work for you that requires you to be broken first. Here's how you know if you're one of them. You couldn't settle. Even before the addiction, you couldn't do shallow. You couldn't fake interest in things that didn't matter. Something in you rejected that script from day one. You felt like you were supposed to be doing something else, something bigger, but you had no idea what. The addiction was your attempt to quiet that feeling, to numb the sense that you were living the wrong life. And it worked for a while, until it nearly killed you. Here's what God was doing the whole time. He was stripping away everything that wasn't you. Every false identity, every comfortable lie, every strategy you used to avoid your actual calling. The addiction was the fire. Rock bottom was the crucible. But here's the part most people don't survive. In that moment of complete surrender, when you finally stop fighting and admit you cannot do this alone, something shifts. The obsessive loops quiet down, and in that silence, you feel it. A presence. God speaking in the only language you can finally hear. The language of complete dependence. The chosen ones don't get the option to negotiate. They have to lose everything, because nothing less would have cracked them open enough for God to get in. This is where it gets uncomfortable. So if you're still watching, you already know this is you. The chosen ones carry a burden most people don't. You feel things other people don't feel. You can't ignore suffering the way people who were never pushed this far can. You can't watch someone in pain and just keep scrolling. And that sensitivity, that inability to look away, that's not a weakness. That's the mark. God doesn't choose people for comfort. He chooses them for impact. You can't guide someone out of darkness if you've never been there. You can't speak to someone's pain if you've never felt it. Your addiction forced you into places most people will never go. The shame, the desperation, the absolute certainty that you're beyond saving. And in those places, you learned what rock bottom feels like, which means you can recognize it in someone else before they even say a word. After you get clean, after you rebuild, people come to you. The broken ones. The ones who are right where you were. And without trying, you know exactly what to say. Because you've been there. This is what God was preparing you for. To reach people no one else can reach. To speak a language no one else can speak. To carry a message that only makes sense to people who've almost died trying to save themselves. But here's where people either step into their calling or lose it forever. This only works if you do the work. Stay clean. Stay honest. Choose truth over comfort. Every single day. Because the moment you think you've arrived, the moment you stop being vigilant, you become useless. Not just to yourself, to everyone God intended to reach through you. Recovery isn't a destination. It's a practice. A daily decision to stay awake. And every day you choose it, you're becoming the person someone else is going to need when they hit their rock bottom. Your purpose shows up as a choice you make every morning. Get out of bed. Ask for help. Tell the truth. Choose connection. Trust that God isn't done with you yet. Every time you make that choice, you're building something. Not the old version of yourself. Something new. Something that can only exist because you were broken first. The chosen ones know they weren't broken by accident. Their sensitivity isn't a flaw. Their intensity, their inability to do anything halfway, that's not damage. That's design. You were never meant to live a small, safe life. You were meant to be shattered so something real could emerge. God doesn't waste pain. Every moment you spent in darkness, He was watching. Not to punish you, to prepare you. Because the people you're going to reach need someone who's been where they are. And you have. Rock bottom wasn't the end. It was God's way of getting your attention. What you do next, right now, today, determines everything.